Hi, my name is World Famous Bob, and I am the mother of the House of Famous. The reason why I bring up my drag house first and foremost is because that is one of the roles in this world that I am the most proud of. I love my drag kids. Our motto is nice is the new fierce. So we come from a place of love. If you're asking yourself, what is a drag mother? What is a drag house? A drag mother is someone who takes up and coming performers, gender outlaws, if you will, underneath their wig and gives them a sense of support, a place to jump off of into the world so that they can become their biggest and truest and most authentic self. I was given this opportunity by my drag mother, Jackie B, who lives in Los Angeles and who is known for being, how should we say, a little scary. She comes from the really old school kind of bitchy queen and is super, super talented, so she does it well. I decided to have nice is the new fierce for my house because of the vulnerability as strength movement, and that's something that I really believe in, and that's something that me and my family really believes in. I bring up my drag kids because it's really important to me. They're my family. The reason why I bring up family is because they're my first family. I grew up on a farm in Central Coast, California. It was about 115 acres. We didn't own it. We rented the house, and it's a long story. We didn't own it though. And growing up, there was a lot of violence in my house. There was a lot of dysfunction, a lot of undiagnosed mental health situations. So I replaced all of my blood relatives with people who treat me with love and respect. I gave my blood relatives opportunities to interact with me in a respectful way. And the ones that had mental health issues, particularly my biological mother, I asked her to seek treatment, and if she was in treatment, I'd be more than happy to be a part of her life. None of them accepted my offer, so I had to create a strong and sometimes painful boundary. But I will say this, I only have people in my life that love me. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And while I wanted my original family to love me, I can't make anyone do anything. So at 15 and a half, I decided to leave home so that I could become my authentic self. I changed my name to Bob. And later on, when I was 25, Jackie, my mom, gave me the moniker World Famous, which I later went to change legally to my first and middle name. I left when I was 15 and a half with my best friend Brant, who I refer to as my new wave knight in shining armor. And it was 1988. He was 6'5", well, he still is. Super, super, super gay hairdresser, super death rock, all black, skull rings, silver Camaro. We went to West Hollywood. That's where I started my journey into the world as myself. And I often tell people I was rescued, just like in the Disney film Jungle Book, if you've seen it, how this little boy, this little person is in the jungle and the animals don't know what to do with him. So they take the basket that he's in and they set it outside the wolf cave, and they come out and they sniff him and they decide to make him one of their own. That's how I feel about gay men. Gay men kind of, all right, they're with us, come on. And so I was raised by a group of drag queens and sassy hairdressers and myself. I did a lot of self-raising. I identify as non-binary. My gender and my sexuality is queer. And I never felt like the gender that was assigned to me and I was socialized as fit completely. So I was socialized as a female, and I liked to pretend I was a female, and then that worked for everyone around me. And I didn't necessarily identify as a boy either. And as a young person, a child, 6, 7, 8 years old, I didn't have the language to describe that. I just knew that I liked to put half slips on my head and pretend I was Cher in the mirror for hours every day. Flipping my slip. Chastity. You know, that's what I like to do. And squirrel away Easter egg dye so that I could dye all the blonde animals from the farm pink because I thought that's how they should have been born. So those were my interests when I was little. My gender it started feeling like a hand-me-down that didn't fit when I was about 13, like a scratchy wool sweater everybody was trying to shove me in, and it just didn't fit, it didn't feel good. And I remember the first time I saw a glance at freedom for my gender. And I was about 13 and a half, almost 14 years old. On the farm, I was very isolated, and I mean socially isolated, geographically, but most importantly, I was culturally isolated. We had one TV station. We lived too far out to have cable. And I watched Solid Gold every week, which was just like top 10 in the 80s, and there were the Solid Gold dancers, and they had different bands on. And I remember Boy George, the lead singer of Culture Club, came out on the stage, his beautiful robes with long twisted dreads and fabric, and the hat, this perfectly painted geisha face resting right above a pronounced Adam's apple. And my biological mother said, "Is that a boy or a girl?" And I knew in that moment, in that space, that there was room for me in the world. I knew that I didn't have to decide. I knew that there was something I had never known before that existed in this world. And regardless of Boy George's gender identity, the visual was enough to inspire me to ask more questions. The first question I asked was, how do I get those eyebrows? So I locked myself in the bathroom and I shaved my eyebrows completely off. I was in junior high school, where it really matters what you look like. And I tried to paint them on like him, and they were horrible. So I very craftily made stencils. So I had lightning bolt eyebrows, and then I would just flip it and fill the other side in. And I just had these like paisley eyebrows, lightning bolt. This was in a tiny farm town in the 80s, and I just spent hours practicing on my makeup and putting kimonos on layaway at the vintage shop and working so I could buy my own clothing so I could express myself. And the language has really changed. I want to say that I'm really inspired by the generations that have come after me, because the first gay pride parade I was in San Francisco, I saw somebody standing there with a bisexual and proud sign, and we were being followed. We were the last float in the parade by thousands of people, and this one person was standing there completely alone. There's been a lot of division within the community, and I grew up thinking I was bisexual. Then when I was 15, I also, gender-wise, thought that I needed to have a sex change to become a man so that I could become a drag performer. So that was my intention. That was my path. And I didn't identify as female. I've always felt like a tourist in my female-presenting body, and I'm grateful for it and its resiliency. And I've come to love my body because it's my vehicle for this lifetime. But there's a lot of confusion and frustration. A lot of, you can't do that, you're a girl. Oh, that's not meant for girls. And my gender identity isn't based on feminism. It's not based on, I can do anything I want, so I'm not a woman. I think it's really important to say that, because people who are assigned female at birth and people who are women at birth but not assigned that way, people who are women, no matter what, you have the power to do anything you want to do. And I stand up for that. I have never felt at home as a woman or as a man. And at 15, I just didn't understand that. So I thought, well, I'm gonna have a sex change and then I'll feel better. And I didn't have any money when I was 15 to have the operation. But what I've learned through the generations that came after me was the language has expanded. And while that's ruffled a lot of feathers with some of the elders in our community, for me it's created space for me to be who I am, and a quick way to explain how I feel where I couldn't even imagine trying to explain it before. So I'll end how I started. I'm World Famous Bob. I'm the mother of the House of Famous. I'm non-binary, presents high femme, and I'm queer.